Fam, this Headie One album, we got to talk about this right now. This is the second release that we've got from Headie One this year. Obviously, we had Gang, which came out with Fred again earlier on this year, which went down to a negative response publicly, but I enjoyed the tape. So after basically saying he was going to quit drill, that didn't happen, and we've had some steady releases from him, like the Only You Freestyle with Drake, which I did a reaction on the channel already. And even to this day, I do like Headie One's part, but I've noticed with a lot of people, and I don't know if this is the same for you watching right now, that they only want to hear Drake's bit. By the time they get to Headie One, they're done with the song. That is something I have noticed, but it was definitely a good look at a moment for Headie One. We also had Ain't It Different with Stormzy and Tracey, which although I thought was a good song, I felt I was left a bit shortchanged, a bit like when Avelino did Energy with Skepta and Stormzy, I think it was as well. And it was like, the song was good, but I felt like it was lacking something. But the old school sample sounded sick. I mean, Headie One has been very, very consistent, including that Gang tape. I'm going to give it to him, including that Gang tape this year. And it's been something that was nice to see. So as we, break down this 20-track beefy playlist featuring, Future, Cash Page, Young T and Bugsey, Huncho, Aitch, and Ivorian Doll, amongst Skepta and a few others as well. Let's talk about the impact of this project. So we start with the song Teach Me, which is pretty decent. It kind of brings us into the theme of the tape. He's talking about drilling, he's talking about how he's moved up in life now, he can buy Richard Mille and all this stuff. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I've never seen a Richard Mille watch. I'm not gonna lie, I ain't out here looking at that type of stuff, you know what I mean? Maybe I should, maybe if I believe it into existence I'll get one, but I don't know what that looks like, innit? But obviously you hear these brands go off on so many artists' songs, but it was a good way to ease ourselves into the tape. Now, Psalm 35 was actually a really, really good song, and I did enjoy it. The sonics of the instrumental reminded me of something a bit like what JB Schofield would do with like Stretch It and all the songs that he's released since then. But I did appreciate the fact that, we see Headie One be a little bit more open and talk about his stepmom being, well, the exact lyric if you listen to this and you're watching this review right now. I'm not gonna swear. So we see him being very open and honest about some of his experiences and stuff like that. And of course, obviously the album is called Edna, so we already knew it was going to be, there'd be more elements about personal experiences in this tape, or so I thought and I assumed prior to listening to the tape in the first place. We get this consistent theme of Edna watching over him as it goes off through the song. We hear about him talking about like a Bible scripture that he can fall asleep to, and again, I'm liking the fact that off rip track 2 we're seeing Headie One be very open, very like different. It's a different sound. Obviously we know that he's going to talk about drilling and if he's riding out, and I think on one of the tracks later on the tape he's talking about how he was still drilling the same day he signed a deal. So we see that the music road, and he still talks about reflecting upon that. But I also like this side of Headie One that he's slowly bringing in more and more into his music, where he's kind of being more open and with the fans, with the listeners, with us. So we kind of see, where's this headspace at this particular time on this particular album? A song that a lot of people will definitely enjoy, Bumpy Ride featuring Huncho, another song that was just pretty much solid. Huncho's bit did deliver. I can't lie to you, I was a bit gassed, I can't lie. Pretty much the second or third bar into the track where he's like, Black Lives Matter, but in the hood, WAP means power. You can see this was recorded like in recent couple of months, because obviously WAP, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, this time it means WAP means power, etc, etc. In the UK, obviously, we know that WAP means something else. Obviously Black Lives Matter was a big theme of this year, so you can see that it's very much a contemporary recorded album. This isn't something that was put in the stash. Huncho's verse is good because he speeds up as well, so again, I know that's not what he's saying, but it's that flow and it works well because you got the little flutes going off in the background, the woodwind thing, you know what I mean? It's working nicely, and you got your head bopping, you're enjoying the song. I mean, we enjoyed that one. Well, I can't say we because I'm the only one recording this right now. I enjoyed that one, and I'm sure you guys did too. I don't know if it was just me or if it was everyone else as well, but when he stepped into Triple Science, like pretty much like the first couple of bars before the beat dropped, it was very reminiscent to Bando K. And I'm gonna say reminiscent, but it sounded like Bando K, that type of flow, where you're kind of a little bit offbeat and then the beat drops and you go crazy. The only thing I would say with that song though is that it starts quite powerful and you're still engulfed in that whole experience that you've got from track 1 to 3. However, after about 2 minutes for me, the song gets a little bit long, so I kind of like listen to it, of course, but I don't think I would get that far in that song upon second, third, fourth listening to it. I don't know if that's just me. Then we go to church. The Light. I've never heard like a religious-y type drill beat. Now, I just don't make any sense. To me, at least, I think it makes sense. But I'm not sure if I'm going to translate that well when I look back at this myself and I release this video for you guys. What you get is like the faint echo and haunting sound from like, someone singing in a sample. They put some reverb on it. They've left it in the back of the mix. So you can't, it's not at the forefront because I think it would have been jarring, but it works nicely. And it's not something that he hasn't done before. Obviously, the only You Freestyle you hear that going, woo, terrible. Leave me alone. Let me remember before I move on to the next track as well. Obviously, the light religious drill beat. We move on. You know what I mean? I'm reaching, but it is what it is. Mainstream was a weird one, Mainstream was a weird one because the beat sounded like an 18-bit Pokemon red, blue, yellow, green, Lavender Town sound with a drill beat on top of it. And at first, I was thrown off. The song itself isn't that long. And I wasn't actually like mad at it, to be fair. It was decent. And like, obviously the one of the bars straight off the start of the song was, I don't care about Labour, Conservative, I just care about 2/3 of a service. Something like that, yeah. That bar was kind of cold because, at the same time, obviously we spoke about him being more emotional with the bars. Now he's speaking a little bit, not too much, just a little sprinkle about politics, which was kind of clean. One song that did it for me though, and again, there was a few highlights, like the Huncho one, don't get it twisted, that was a highlight for me as well, right? But Princess Cuts, listen, Young T and Bugsey, TSB, obviously you've done a lot of production for Jay Huss's album. Yes, one of the top songs for me on this tape. We're seeing the repeat of Don't Rush, so we're seeing the flip side this time where Young T and Bugsey are the featured artists and Headie One is the main artist. So this might have been recorded at the same time, which was probably what, 2019? Yeah, late 2019, potentially. I don't know in it, so I'm just saying, but it kind of makes sense in that way. But Young T and Bugsey overpowered the track, They overpowered the track, and they've also had a good year. Let's remember, Plead the Fifth came out earlier on this year. Obviously, they had a lot of success overseas this year, and obviously they had a lot of success towards the end of last year in the UK. But the synergy between Headie One and Young T and Bugsey, it seems to work, and it's something I don't want all the time, but I appreciated it when I heard it. And off rip, man said, my young boy's got the stick like Moses with the Israelites, and it's got that bop to it, yeah. And it's just like, it's got like not a rubbery bands bop, but it's got like the Afro swing kind of centric sound that he's got going on this particular song with the way he's rapping on it. Headie One is very good at knowing when to switch up the sound depending on the song. And he's not just rapping like one flow or one style. He knows when it's a bit of a drill beat, he changes it up a little bit. When it's a more rap centric song, he does that Afro swing. So Versatility, Headie One, this tape again, very, very strong. 21 Gun Salute, which is also a Wretch 3-2 song that came out a couple of years ago. That one was aight. That one was aight for me. Young Ads, I saw that and I'm thinking, oh yeah, we got the Young Ads D-Block Europe tape that I think came out today as well. I'm not doing a review on that, so do not ask me. Yes, do not ask me to do that because I saw the track list on that and that's like 30 songs. You know what I mean? I ain't got that type of time. I got time for this, I ain't got the type of time for that. I mean, the Harry Potter bars were funny, you know what I mean? Ron Weasley and all them things, that was funny. I feel like after Princess Cuts with Young T and Bugsey, I was like on a good high, and then this one kind of brought it down a little bit because I was a bit like, Young Ads was decent. Young Ads didn't ruin the song for me because sometimes, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Young Ads can ruin songs. He can ruin songs. Insomnia, there's a few slaps on there, and then Young Ads started speaking and the slaps were no more. So when I saw the track list get released last week and I saw Future on there, I was like, where is this gonna go? I was a bit apprehensive because I was thinking, is this gonna be Headie One jumping on a more trap centric sound beat? That makes sense, I don't know. Or is Future gonna be jumping on a UK rap / drill beat? Now, it was the latter. At first, when Headie One started rapping, I was like, okay, yeah, we're in for a good song here. We're in for a very, very good song. Future comes in, and it's a different flow from Future, and you could see that he was trying. You could see Future's doing a thing, and he's trying his hardest. And I wasn't mad at the first bit. I like the first bit, to be fair, because it was different. I like the fact that Future doesn't have like a whole verse by himself and it's later on in the song. I like when Features come in quickly and then they come out of it. The first part was good from Future. The second part, I don't think was needed too much from Future, but the kind of like Future melody over the track at the same time, especially in the chorus and the little break bits, were good. And I like the fact that Headie One had Future on the tape, and it was a song that was very more leaning towards Britain and the UK than it was America. And for that, I can't be mad at it. So shout out to Future, shout out to Headie One for that one. Try Me featuring Skepta. You know what, the main bar that stood out for me is, I got a big head already, why she trying to give me heady? Something like that. That is the bar that I was laughing at. I literally paused the song, I laughed, I rewound that bit, and we started again, because it's just like the little bits of humor that he kind of flings in throughout the tape. Obviously there's other bars that I probably have forgotten, or I need to listen to it again before I pick them up. It's stuff like that that makes Headie One kind of stand out. And Skepta on the track was decent. I don't think it's as good as, I think it's called Back to Basics, that song. I preferred that song than this one. This one was decent, but again, it's still something to have on your album and say, look, on one album I've got the likes of Drake, I've got Future, I've got Skepta. Not many other UK artists at the moment can boast those stats, whether the tracks be 10, 10 or 0, and none of them are 0 anyway. Honourable shout out goes out to Ivorian Doll. F You Pay Me was not my favourite. I didn't really like that too much, but you know, she done well. She done well on that track, and Ivorian Doll is continuing to see her stock rise. Obviously, she was on that Owner track with Ade Josh and Olo J Beats, so she's doing her thing. It just wasn't for me. But I think the album picks up again when we get to Parlez-Vous Anglais. You know what I mean? Come on, the French gang. You know what I mean? With Headie, I'm about to say Freddie One. You know, man, Headie One and Aitch. You know, mainly because we see a back-to-back situation, which is what I was crying out for in the Only You Freestyle. I like when, if you're gonna do it quick, do it punchy. We already know that Aitch is good with punchy bars and little memorable notables, and Headie One is also very good at that. And I think the back-to-back with them two worked really, really well on a good drill beat, solid drill beat. Production across this whole tape was very much on point. And that's why I'm not really talking about it, because the standards that Headie has set for himself have been very good. And he already had started to do it towards the end of like Music and Road and that, but he's starting to move away from all the other drill rappers, and kind of how J Hus is kind of considered like the best rapper or one of the best rappers in the UK for what he does. I feel like Headie One is slowly and surely continuously showing, one, he's Mr. Consistent, and two, I'm keeping it moving from the rest of the drillers. And the track with Mahalia, however you want to say it, I like the toxic masculinity bar where he's like, I think, you know, all girls love me, it's toxic masculinity, something along those lines. That was funny. That was actually quite a joke. It was good to see a little R&B ballad switch up, because again, like I said, we've had a very versatile tape at this point, and we're getting towards the end. We're kind of getting to that point where we need to close it. You're either going to go high pitch and high tempo, or you're going to come downbeat a little bit, hit us with an R&B vibe and keep it moving. And that follows into the track with Cash Page, which is another international feature. Obviously, if you don't know much about Cash Page, she has done stuff with Don Toliver, she's done stuff with Travis Scott in the past, so she's worth checking out. She actually dropped a tape earlier on this year, which wasn't too bad. But this song was, again, it was calm. I do like it, to be fair. I'm probably going to be wheeling that one up a few times myself. And again, it's just Headie One kind of being more open, more honest as well. And I think that's what I've liked about this tape. Honestly, going through Edna and going through 20 tracks, I thought it was going to be a daunting task. I thought it was going to be very, very long. I wasn't really here for it. I weren't in the mood. However, going through this whole tape, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and this is only the first time I listened to it. I literally started recording after I listened to it. I think it was an interesting concept just to see, you know, the dynamic of where Headie One was going to go. You know, he had a bit of a wobble earlier on this year with Gang, publicly, not for me, but it is what it is in that. So him coming out of the Only You Freestyle, Ain't It Different, and kind of going back to his roots for some part of the album has probably made the drill heads very happy. I like the fact that he showed diversity on the tape. I like the fact that we had Cash Page. I like the fact we had Mahalia. We had Young T and Bugsey on there. We had Drake, Skepta, Huncho. We had a good we had a good variety of sounds and features on this tape. At the same time, minus the features, he held his own on it. There wasn't a stage where I was like, well, actually, there was a couple stages where I was a bit like, okay, this is going on for a little bit too long, this song. But for the most part, most of the individual songs by himself were under about 3.5 minutes. They were quick, they were punchy, and you're on to the next one. The runtime didn't feel as long as 20 tracks would be and should be. And as we move on now into, you know, 2020, and we look back at what are some of the albums of the year. Now, I look at this one, it's too early for me to say this is one of the albums of the year right now, but compared to the other songs or the other albums I've heard from the UK artists this year, it's in the top 5. I might do an end of the year thing, you know what I mean, and do a whole speech about it anyway and say what my top 5 albums of the year are. But for now, J Hus is still number 1 for me, but this one is looking like a 2 or 3. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's looking like a 2 or 3. Nines is in there, but this one, I feel like this album is better than Nines' album personally. But that's it. What do you guys think about this whole Headie One tape, Edna? I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, really good tape, really enjoyable. There's a lot of features in there, a lot of things I got to break down and go back to. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel as well. We just hit 1,600 subscribers, you know. Shout out to everyone who's been getting involved and showing love this year, you know what I mean? We started, I think, about this year, about 500. So we're doing bits, But I'll catch you for another review sometime soon. Stay blessed, stay safe. In a bit. Peace.